Pretty much born out here, back and forth between California and here for a while throughout middle school, high school. Up until I was 8, it was a typical, picket fence family. Sister passed away, and I guess my parents kind of had an addiction, but wasn't really lost into it at the time. So when she passed away, it was a huge spiral downwards for their addiction. So it became a sense that one parent would get locked up. So my mom's from out here, my dad's from California. One parent gets locked up, I go back and forth, and it was like that 8 to 15. So pretty much every other year I was back and forth until right before I started high school. I was out in California with my dad's side of the family. He got locked up, and at that age I was kind of not making the best decisions, I guess. My grandma was more so worried about my choices and which way I was going in life. So she shipped me back out here to my mother's family, and it really wasn't bad. I mean, had I not been in the lifestyle that mindset I was in, it could have been different. But since I came from out there to out here and already been smoking weed and hanging out with these people, that was kind of the people I sought to. So when I came out here, I was 15, 14, freshman, and I was hanging out with guys 21, 22, and all we did was just sell weed and sat at the house. At some point, it progressed from that to me and my mom in our own place. Me just taking her car when I wanted to. I was selling weed. I was out drinking. Didn't really do a whole lot of drugs until after I got out my first time. My first case, my mom got locked up, and then I guess in the mix of everything, we kind of lost where we were staying, so I was living out of a car, and I had a bunch of stuff on me. At that point, I was drinking all the time, and, I ended up getting into an accident. That accident, I thought I had a new car. I thought I could run. It didn't work out like that. A cop was on his way to work. From there, it turned to me running from him trying to tackle me on concrete. At this point, I'm 17, maybe a few months from turning 18. And then that was my first case. So I sat in county for a year. I had a public defender who was not on my side at all. He just told me to take what they give me. Ended up trying to take an open plea to get something a little bit better. My thought, I'm 17. I shouldn't have to see prison for the first time. I mean, I made a mistake. I had a job. It wasn't the best job, but I worked side on construction. So I did a year in county, ended up getting sentenced to a 120 treatment. Got out of that, and at this point, I'm bitter at the world about everything. I never really, as far as I was concerned, I wasn't that bad. I just sold a little bit of weed, smoked, and hung out. But I was bitter. I did real good for the first couple months just because I was still new, didn't really hang out with too many people I used to. I met a girl, and she was in the middle of her addiction. Coming from seeing my parents left and right, and none of them want to stop their addiction, I'm already mad at everything. I got all my time in. I felt like, what are they really going to do to me? So I just jumped headfirst into this addiction with her. And then it was just a spiral effect. I went from there to getting kicked out of my grandparents' house to me and her living out of weeklies to selling dope here and there. But, I was new to it. So being new to a drug, I guess, it was one of those things that me and her, it's all we did. We just wanted to sit around and get high. So the selling dope part never really worked, but with it being ice and speed, and my mom, she got out again and was still in her addiction. So with that being the case, anytime I needed anything, I didn't have to try to sell it. I just asked for it and I would get it. So it just enabled me, it added fuel to the fire, and I ran with that probably about a year and a half, and then I called my second case. The second case was, I was on the run already, had a warrant for my arrest, and then when we were out getting high, it was one of those things, be 2, 3 in the morning, go to Walmart and just boost a bunch of stuff. And that's what we were doing. We got caught walking out of Walmart, and I so happened to have some speed on me. From there, that's where I caught a whole nother dope case. Ended up doing a year on that, plus the 6 months it took me to handle that. Because whenever I started doing drugs the first time, it was just to figure out why my parents always did. Towards the end of that, I knew that was a route I was done with. I know me just living with my grandparents often all the time, I got tired, I tried their lifestyle, it didn't work out for me, it didn't play out for me. And then for the longest time, they still, they're 40 years old and don't have nothing to really show for it. And it just got to the point, I didn't want that. I didn't know how to not do it just because that was what I was so accustomed to, but I knew that's not what I wanted. So whenever Concordance and all them here approached us, and I had never heard nothing about it, nothing like it. Well, they said, we have this program. They were telling how it's still so new, we're not going to make the 6-month pre-release like they want to, but once we get out, if we don't do any type of classes before we get out, the next day we come here and start. They made it sound real good. You get paid $9-10 an hour, get 3 months of it, the hours were feasible, they help you find a job. Everything about it sounded too good to be true. You could either milk it and just take advantage of it, or you could go another route and just take off. And from when I've been here, there's been people that's made something out of it. No, this place, I don't know if I'd have got here without it, but I would have never been where I'm at without it this quick. It'd have been a struggle, one thing after another. About a year after my graduation from here, I finally sat down with Tom, and Tom was like, look, I realized the type of person Tom was. He was connected, networked. So I knew if I needed an out, for a legit out for employment, something like that, that was something I could rely on. And just kind of having that support, that foundation, and just knowing I don't want to go the same route I've seen other people go was just kind of what had me so gun-ho on doing something. Look at start schooling for like Boeing, found the accelerated training program they have over there at Flow Valley. Figured, sure, why not? I don't honestly think they'll hire me, but if I can get into schooling, I got that under my belt. I can go to any type of machinist, sheet metal shop, and have somewhat of a foot in the door. And then, so it worked out, because right after I signed up for that, I lost my job at the warehouse. In the midst of losing my job at the warehouse, I got it's right up the street from me. It was a $9-10 an hour job. Wasn't nothing, but it kept me busy. That way I could attend school every day, Monday through Friday. Graduated the school, and I still have a real good relationship with that shop. I'm there, I'm like a fill-in. They helped me. I was their only employee for months until I got on. And then, it just kind of from there, I was there for 3 months at the shop after I lost my job at the warehouse. Boeing finally called me, said, here's a start date, does that work for you? Yeah, I'm there. And then since then, it's just been to the moon. When I got out of prison, my mindset really wasn't, okay, I'm going to get out and do good. It was just, I'm going to get out and I'm just going to get by, whatever the case, get a decent job, try to save some money, get it, together. But with Concordance, it made it so much easier. But had them not been there, I think I would have got out. I would have just did good, but found excuses not to do good. Like, I'm just going out, I'll go ahead and get high on the weekend. But Concordance, I don't know. It was godsend, it seemed like. Concordance teaches a lot of life skills people doing 5, 10, 15 years neglect to have, or they just financial skills, life skills, dealing with people. It's just you live so long, you become institutionalized. Coming here thinking, all right, cool, like I'm going to use what I can out of it. Doing a treatment the first time, I've realized that there's always something you can learn from every situation. So I was just going to take advantage of that and learn what I could. But once it got to the employment stage of it, the third phase or whatever it's considered, and they're pushing you, I had job interview after job interview. I'd had people saying, we're waiting on your background check to come back. Once it comes back, we'll see if we can hire you, and got shut down left and right. And that's when Tom made his first appearance, and that's when I realized, like, this could really be beneficial. For a while there, I could have sworn something to do with Concordance is the reason I got into Boeing, just because there was guys I was in class with that had a similar case like mine, but it was older. So I'm thinking, well, if they got told no, I'm getting told no. And then when I got on, I was like, because after I went through the class and all that, I found Dr. Nunn had some part in setting up these programs, or like the class for Boeing. So everyone here tells me I did it on my own. Whether I did or not, I don't care. I'm here. Dude, I remember when I got this job at Boeing and I wasn't living paycheck to paycheck no more. That was just such a surefire relief. And then, since February, this past year, I've gone from half a bike, just my Mini, to I bought a 300 a month later, bought another bike, a couple months later, bought another. I can walk outside now and see a picture that I never thought I'd see before. Come 10, 20 years from now, if I have kids, or whether it be my brother's kids or whatever, it's just satisfying to say that, look, this is where I came from, this is what I've been through. I didn't have all odds against me, but I had the deck stacked against me pretty well.